Give us any chance, we'll take it. Read us any rule, we'll break it. We're gonna make our dreams come true.
Hello, guys. This is Lisa and Chris from Navtastic, podcast about 8 seasons in a row. And we're proud to announce that we have some brand new graphics on the channel.
Yes, we do. It's some fantastic new little bit of icons and banners and all that great stuff by the wonderful, magnificent, all wonderfulness of Navtastic.
Yes, they're wonderful. You can commission them via a link that we're going to put in the information of the channel and via the information we're going to attach to every single video from here on out. So you go give them money. They are so good. They've already done a commission for me. That's entirely outside of the realm of the channel's banners. And we're super pleased with the work they did. It's really, really nice.
Absolutely delightful. Yeah. To just, for the YouTube version of this, future me will put up a little kind of showcase of it, kind of some zooms in and all that kind of stuff. Just look at all the detail, the character sort of stuff. We actually found them because they were doing Laverne and Shirley fan art. Is that correct?
Yes, that's exactly right. They happen to be posting it. Yes, our friend Joy, who's also known as Pax, had been boosting their art onto our feed. And we immediately looked at their work and said, this would be perfect. This would be perfect for our channel.
Yeah, we're just absolutely just over the moon for like every stage of watching the process. Incredibly professional, the detail with working, because when you commission an artist, there are some that, will just take the brief and just run with it. And that is totally fine. I'm totally cool with that. But it was really special just to see the amount of care and dedication that they put into this. And it made us feel absolutely secure that we had made the right decision. So I know we're really talking this up, for a couple minutes here, but absolutely, this person's work is great. We're really happy with it. We hope you enjoy the art. We're going to be keeping this for a long time to come. And please go check them out. Give them some support.
Give them money. Our advice is give them money, commission them. I'm going to be commissioning them again for something else. I know exactly what I want from them next. And they've been very accommodating and very kind. Also,
if you are someone who loves these sort of things, look up the Lenny and Squiggy lorikeets. That's a particularly great piece of theirs.
It's adorable. It's adorable. We'll put a link to that in the information.
Yarp.
Take a look.
All right. Anyway, so I guess we'll jump back into the episode here, and thank you so much for the quick listen. And once more, Navtastic, you are fantastic.
Yes, you are. Thank you so much for everything. Welcome to the Navtastic, a podcast about 8 seasons in a row. I'm Lisa Fernandes, and
I'm Chris Jayawardena. Hello.
We're here to review Debutante Ball, directed by Alan Rafkin and written by Paula A. Roth and Judy Pioli. And I bet you get some facts about them, don't you, Chris?
I do. So first of all, hi Terry. It's good to see Judy Pioli back writing again. She played Terry Buttafuoco earlier in this season in tag team wrestling. Mm-hmm. So for Judy, this is her third credit as writer with 11 more to go. So we'll be seeing her for a bit. Her future credits include the TV show Valerie, but not Vicky or Roxy. So no telling if Arch Hall Jr. gave her $1 million or not. That is a very obscure EGOT Mystery Science Theater 3000 reference. If you've seen the episode, you know the joke. Anyway, Paula Roth. So this is, she has 6 more episodes for her to go. But as mentioned before, she would join Happy Days writing in the early 80s and then go on to work extensively on Perfect Strangers, again with Judy Pioli, as both a producer and writer. Now, Rafkin, naturally, again, it's season 3. So I have a quote from Rafkin this time around. He was interviewed in the late 1990s by Peter Bogdanovich, of all people, and stated the following: "Why is it always all about sex and shows like When Pets Attack? What is that about? If it were allowed, I'm sure we would have an execution on television every week. Live from Sing Sing, let's watch 2 black people die tonight. Not just 1, but 2 people. Now back to you, Bill. Years ago on the Andy Griffith Show, it was more of like a morality play, and these were marvelous to do, because you were dealing with stuff you believed in. Now the writing is so thin because there's so many shows, 60 sitcoms, and there aren't even 60 funny people in Los Angeles." That's Alan Rafkin at the end of his days, people.
Oh,
So.
Lord. Oh, that is an opinion. Oh. And this is what the episode is about. When Laverne receives an invitation from Lenny to a debutante ball being thrown by the Society of Exiled Royalty, both Laverne and Shirley presume the boys are playing a prank on them. It takes Lenny presenting his royal papers signed by the Duke of Warsaw for Laverne to finally believe that the request is legitimate. With Shirley's encouragement, Laverne agrees to attend the ball on Lenny's arm while wearing clothing from Squiggy's Uncle Elliot's wax museum. And both of them instantly make such an uncouth appearance that they're presumed to be illegitimate riffraff by the hoi polloi in charge. To prove he's the real deal, Lenny needs to present the organizers of the ball with his royal papers. But they're in the basement of the Peaceable, in a safe, and among the bottles of wine Frank's been collecting to create a winter cellar. Shirley, Frank, and Squiggy go to retrieve them, but find themselves accidentally locked in the basement. Will they escape before Laverne and Lenny find themselves tossed out on the royal keisters? What do you think?
I think it's a great episode. I think it was a lot of fun. I think it was good.
Yeah.
This you had been hyping me up on this one for a while, quite a while, since season 1, actually.
Yeah.
It is adorable. It delivers. I have a note here. I think I stole this note from you. Is that this is Ship Catnip?
Yeah.
Uh,
I told you that.
Yeah, that's accurate. That's very accurate. Yeah. No, I've you know, I have my ships, and so I've had my moments where the catnip has been very strong. I've played Resident Evil 5 twice, and and so yeah, no, this was adorable. There's a lot of wonderful details. The script is fantastic. The dialogue is pretty much perfect throughout. Like even the lines that don't need to make you laugh, they make you feel something, and they connect you with the characters. It's a very good executed episode. And I love that I actually kind of like that it begins at night. There's something almost dreamlike and fairy tale about it. Like it's a midnight, like a bedtime story where they're in the middle of eating dinner and Laverne stabbing the chopsticks into the food. And then, you know, the outfits they come in with, you know, the boys, and Squiggy with the kazoo.
Yeah.
It's precious. It's delightful. Just those types of details throughout. And I like its idea of what really is class. What is nobility? What is it a title? Is it what you are born into? Or is it the type of person you are deep down inside and the actions that you do when confronted with humiliation?
Yeah. This is one of my favorite episodes. I'm just going to flat out say this is one of my favorite episodes.
No, I would never be able to tell that.
Yeah. Beautifully written, beautifully constructed, adorable. I mean, everything about this episode is honestly perfect. Even if, like, the very end where the humiliation stuff happens, it almost doesn't need to. It almost feels like it's tacked on to have Laverne end up soaked in the punch, but then that conversation with Shirley happens, and no, it's not. No, and then you get that beautiful button moment. It's perfect. Perfect episode.
Mm-hmm.
It's perfect. I was going to just mention, from the very beginning, Shirley absolutely thinks this is BS. Laverne thinks this is BS. They get this invitation in the mail, and it's made out of thick paper. So it feels legitimate, but they're like, what kind of royalty do we know? And comes Squiggy with his kazoo, followed up by Lenny, with his little crown and his cape, and thus begins an adorable as heck story. I love the notion of him being 89th in line for the throneship of Poland.
Yep, just one good plague and he's on the royal throne.
One good plague and the kid's a queen.
Oh, God.
I love that something horrible happened in the Kulikowski line, where all the Kosnowskis had to leave Poland. They left in disgrace, and someday they will return the same way.
Yep, it's a very Lenny thing to say.
Yeah. And the fascinating thing about this is that he is of royal lineage, but he has lived an absolute horrifying poverty. And we're gonna find out how bad the poverty level, how far beneath the poverty level he was as a child. That's gonna come up eventually. He and his sister, his dad grew up that way. Go ahead. Well, he and his sister grew up that way. Go ahead.
I'm curious how long his family's been in the country at that point, because
that's actually a good question. It's a good question. It's possible that they were exiled around the time of the Russian Revolution, which makes sense if they supported certain people.
It would. It's just, but in terms of, I mean, and I guess, the poverty, because that I do understand is that immigration, when you emigrate to another place, you can lose whatever fortune you had pretty quickly.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, even my own family, the Jayawardenas, either the Jayawardenas or the Breckenridges, I don't know which one, but they, had land that once the British took over, in Sri Lanka, basically were like, nope, that's ours now. And then when the new government was reinstated, it was like, nope, you got even less now. So, that can happen. But I was curious, like, if this had been them in exile, like earlier, like say in the 19th century, perhaps that this had been during, like, one of those periods of Polish immigration during the kind of Wild West period, and that they eked out a really difficult living and never really the money they had got them to a destination they could land, but wasn't able to keep them thriving in that place.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's possible they lost it through stock market crash in the 20s. It's possible anything could have happened. Anything could have happened to create the end result where Lenny grew up on public assistance.
Right.
Which is what we find out.
Yep.
He grew up poor and his only toy was sauerkrauts. And, that could be a number of things could have caused that to happen. Anything from his parents' dysfunctional marriage to the grandparents having lost all the money. But his grandfather seems to be proud of their heritage because all the stories about this come down to Lenny from him. So it's interesting if you really probe and think about it.
Definitely.
But
I was just gonna say, I mean, it does make one wonder, how does one go from fresh plucked grapes to rubber grapes? They're very chewy, though.
I just love that he's just saying they're eating them, and you can't taste the difference. It's like
right.
Either they must have been scented, or he just is that nervous, or he just will eat anything. The multiple answers to the question exist when it comes to honey.
He is trying to ask her out, though. So, I mean, there's definitely, this nerves would definitely do that.
Yeah. He has a beautiful line here, a perfect line. You're pretty, you're smart, and you happen to be the classiest girl I know. And Laverne melts at that. And even Shirley is shipping it. Shirley never ships it. Shirley is like, yeah, go, do it, go. And she's never, ever, ever like that when it comes to Lenny doing anything else around Laverne. Ever. My note when it comes to that line, right after that line, I wrote marry him.
I love that.
Done. That's what any woman would do. Marry him. But it's well established here that it's not just that Lenny is attracted to Laverne. He likes her for a lot of different reasons. And this kind of establishes it. Even though they go to the ball kind of buddy-buddy, there's also a lot of little romantic underpinnings that hint that this is kind of a little Cinderella moment for both of them. Both have to go to the ball together and class up and become these folks that they don't normally get to be in life.
Yep.
In their workaday worlds.
Yep. Yeah, it's a beautiful little, like, I think because of the fact that they know they have each other in that moment is what makes it kind of that romantic platonic, sort of
Yeah.
line blur because it's
Yeah.
because there's I mean I love they're supportive of each other with their different moments and like how well, I mean think of like the as goofy as it is she sits on top of him or covers him while he goes to to look underneath the couch.
Yeah. She literally sits on top of him, and his legs are projecting out from underneath the skirt. And I get that the joke is supposed to be that it looks like she's got her legs on backwards, and she has very long legs. But if you think a little bit, the smut will just bubble up like crude from the surface of the earth.
Yep.
It's like, I see you, girls. I see what you're doing. I see what you're writing.
The extras' responses to it are fantastic.
Oh yeah. We got a lot of great extras in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
And they successfully play snobbish royalty with panache.
Yep. Yes.
It's really fun to watch them.
Sadly, I couldn't find the casting listing for who played the Duke.
Yeah, which is weird. He doesn't get billed.
Mm-hmm.
And he has lines.
Yeah. And a dance. It's a dance with Penny Marshall.
Yeah. And he had actual dialogue. It's just like the accreditation in the credits of Laverne and Shirley tends to be a little spotty. I don't know why. Because you'd think people who had dialogue every time would be reliably billed, and they're not. I don't know what was happening in the union and what was happening with ABC, what was happening behind the scenes in the AV departments, but they would never, ever, 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 ever be correctly billed starting from somewhere around season 2. There are a number of notable extras with actual dialogue who should be billed and don't get billed, and I don't know what the heck's going on when it comes to that, but whoever's responsible for editing or
it's strange.
It's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, even for these episodes we've been covering so far, I've had in a couple of cases to have to look up, uncredited, I'll see them listed as uncredited. We've had to go through Wikipedia in a couple of cases. I think at least once or twice, right? We've had to go to Wikipedia for some extra information for I think for writing credits in particular. And it's a trip. But in any case though, yeah, I mean the actors are good. Those little bit players are great. There's not a heck of a lot to mention about them in terms of their performance. I mean, I did like Evelyn was, wonderfully snooty, and the only Patricia Stitch or Stick is the actor's name, and she did 3 more roles after this. She had 2 episodes of Battlestar Galactica, and 1 episode of Too Close for Comfort, 1980, which is uncredited. And then she went ahead and just was like, all right, I'm done. She had done other stuff throughout the late 60s and through the 70s, but that's right. She was the one that was in Linda Lovelace for President.
Yes. Oh God. Well, everyone was in that. Mickey Dolenz was in that.
Oh God! Wow. Gosh! Wow. I'll look that up later. Wait, no, don't take that out of context. I'm not looking up a Linda Lovelace movie right now. Okay, never mind. Okay, moving on. Back on track.
Press the wrong button and they'll be moaning. Anyway.
Whoa.
Anyway.
But yeah, no, there's some wonderful. The thing I really enjoy about this also is that the stuff with Laverne and Lenny in this.
Yes.
I love that they're very much on the same team in this episode. Yes. I think that's why calling this Ship Catnip, I think is a great explanation. Is one of the reasons why I think it happens that way is because they. Even when Lenny does something perhaps a little crass, or I should say uncouth, uncouth.
Yes.
She looks at him more like, oh, no, thanks. She turns down an offer, but she doesn't feel disgusted by it.
Yeah.
Like the olives on his fingers. Yeah. It's like, hey, she's got 2 fingers to choose from, but she's like, I'm good.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, she pats him dry after he takes that face full of punch, even though she's kind of scolding him for throwing the punch back. She's very, 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 very tolerant of him, sitting there with the shrimp tail hanging out of his mouth. She looks at him and says, "He's quite a guy, isn't he?" Which is a huge leap from "he's your only friend" back in season 1. So she's like, she looks at him almost in an admiring light in this episode. which is very interesting.
Well, the understanding of the heritage of his birth definitely changes little things, and the fact that he even because I think it's even the line, if you want to throw in a little royale do, it won't break his heart. That comes from Squiggy. That doesn't come from Lenny.
But look what he does with his hips when Squiggy says that. I saw that little arch.
I didn't catch that. Okay.
Look.
But my the point is that my point is that she knows that Lenny wants her to be there for not for the intent of sex. It's the idea that he wants her to be there because I think he's sort of nervous about it. He's a little nervous about going. He doesn't want to go alone. And the only person he can think of as a date to take with him, the for him, what would be the belle of the ball would be her.
Yeah. She is the girl that he admires a lot. And plus, she's not scary.
Yeah.
Other girls can be scary to him. There's an entire scene in Sing 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 where he's attracted to a girl and he can't get words out.
Ah.
He just kind of collapses over because he failed to get words out. With Laverne, that never happens with him. He's just like, it's a combination of casualty. Oh, Jesus Christ, I'm doing the jewel thing. It's a combination of casualness and of strong feelings. That's what I'll term it. That's what I'll say.
Yeah. No, it's good. Also, I love that you mentioned the jewel thing because I remember that interview.
Oh
man!
How dare you say that? Let me smug. Oh my god.
And anyway.
It's not what casualty means.
It's like someone gets their arm blown off. Yeah. Anyway, speaking of pratfalls, though,
yes.
The physical comedy bits in this, the timing for the little gags are great. For everything from the bits with the bird, the splashes, the actual big fall. I love the moment when she sits down for the first time with the dress and the crinoline, or the crinoline, wireframe is all puffed up, so it just goes whoop, and goes up, and that's hilarious and precious and gosh.
And she's wearing bloomers underneath. She actually wore Lizzie Borden's underwear to this ball, this is such a memorable moment that it ends up in the season 8 opening credits.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
So that ends up in there. Yeah. I love the fact that the two of them are they're trying their hardest. They're trying their hardest to fit in. Her big concern is not to embarrass him in front of all these royalties. All these royal people. And that's her big concern. Because after that accident happens where she trips over that dumbass who bent over and then goes cartwheeling down the ramp and ends up with punch all over her, is to apologize to Lenny. Which is something she will rarely, if ever, do. She does apologize to him a few more times in this show. But she is so concerned about putting on a good first impression. And he's trying for her, too. He cares about her having a good time. He's proud of her. He directly says he's proud of her before he kisses her on the cheek. And yes, and the way she looks at him after he kisses her on the cheek. I mean, a lot.
Yeah, and I love how he's right there with her. He feels so bad for her. He's like, keep going. Maybe they won't. Maybe they didn't notice. And it's like to him is like, okay, so you fell. I fall all the time. What do I care?
Yeah, which is exactly what Shirley tells her.
Right.
That if you happened at the pizza bowl, you wouldn't care. Care because these people aren't better than you. It's the whole point.
Yep.
They're just people like everybody else, and let them be rude. With your dignity, no matter what.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Dignity and steam.
Pride, grace, and dignity.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah, and and some of them wanted to laugh at her, and I was hoping that she would unlock her psychic powers and murder them all. But
Carrie Style, God, just imagine that crossover.
Yeah.
Oh Lord.
I was just gonna say that it turns out that she's able to make the punch bowl, summon a portal to something, and suddenly you get like, I don't know, you get tree roots or fruit trees, a bunch of fruit punch, right? You have a bunch of seeds grow out of it, and all these vines trap everyone in there, and yeah. Anyway,
and then they're strangled to death by a bunch of branches.
Fruit punch branches.
Oh, goodness. Oh, man. Now that we've thoroughly discussed that part of the episode, we have to talk about Shirley and Squiggy and Frank being stuck in the Pizza Bowl's basements, which is completely random.
But wonderful.
It's wonderful. It's perfect.
You can almost smell the bodies smoldering away in the mummy's tomb.
The fact that Squiggy thinks of cannibalism, first of all, the first thing he thinks of is mummies and cannibals, all kinds of horrible things happening, instead of the fact that he is alone, well, basically alone, in the basement of the Pizza Bowl with Shirley. I guess Frank being there kind of puts a damper on everything.
Oh, yeah, no. Frank would not let anything happen. But mind you, my note about him thinking of it is like cannibalism. This isn't a Deodata movie. You stop that.
Oh god, everything about the way David takes his little tiny bit in this episode, just runs with it, is great. I love how hard Shirley tries to escape, while Frank and Squiggy just give up. And they sit there and start drinking wine.
Mm-hmm.
Sitting at a table, waiting for Mary, presumably Mary the waitress, to rescue them. I don't know who the heck's going to rescue them.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody knows they're down there.
Exactly. But I do love the line, Shirley, you're acting like a fool, and I take it from one who knows.
Yeah, it's great dialogue. That's great dialogue. I love that dialogue.
Yep.
Oh my goodness. I love that Shirley's determination helps her find a way out, and then she tries to get boost through the bars and then goes right in that box.
Yep.
The way she just goes right in the box is hilarious.
Yep. Buried alive like the mummy in the tomb.
I'll show you, mummy. The way she tries to strangle him.
That's always fun. I mean, So I mean, hey, I guess if Frank wasn't there, they'd have terrific hate sex in a box.
There you go. Yep. Like the mummy in the porn movie. That's the XX rated version of that.
Oh God. Yeah.
But then anyway, this allows for Shirley to be there during one of the most important moments of Laverne's life.
Yes.
And she gets to be there even though she's not dressed up. She wanted to get dressed up, but she ran out of time.
Mm-hmm.
She comes to the ball in her slacks and her jacket and gets to be there and gets to watch. And of course, she gets humiliated, then also she gets to witness her triumph. She gets to witness Laverne's big triumph, which is really beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's got tears in her eyes at that point, if I'm right.
Yeah. She reaches for the handkerchief in Lenny's pocket to wipe her eyes.
That's
just
right.
Keep coming because he's wearing a magician's tuxedo.
Right. There was a lot of beautiful little moments. There's so much. I love that.
Yeah.
Laverne, of all people, because that's the thing, right? Is we've spent so much time with Shirley trying to win this dream, and yet it's Laverne, the cynic, who actually gets to live the fairy tale. She gets to be a real Cinderella up there. She's the belle of the ball, or the Bella of the ball, as I think you commented to me earlier today.
Yes. She gets to actually blossom. She blossoms and gets to live a fairy tale. And this is someone who never really believes in fairy tales, or insists she never believes in fairy tales. Even though, as she told Shirley earlier, I dream, I just don't talk about it.
Right.
And this is kind of a dream, Yeah, she gets to dance with the Duke. And it's beautiful. And it's beautifully done. I love that we get all this princess imagery, and you get all of this beautiful fairy tale imagery. And in the end, you get a great moral.
Mm-hmm.
The moral, just like a fairy tale, comes out in the end. And that moral is to just be you. Do not be afraid of what other people say. Do not be afraid of embarrassing yourself because you can always get back up again.
Mm-hmm.
You should be rewarded for your dignity and your grace and your bravery.
Yes.
And thus so she is.
Get the moment to dance your little feet off.
So that's a little feet off the Duke. I love everything about this episode.
Yeah.
I love that they make that Marx Brothers reference when everybody bows to Lenny and he goes, "Well, I'm good, but excellent." I know I'm good, but excellent.
Oh yeah, God, yeah.
I know I'm good, but excellent.
Uh,
That was beautiful. That's one of my favorite lines in those ripoff. But oh my goodness, I love Shirley's pep talk to Laverne when they're in the bathroom trying to wipe her down from all the punch.
Yep.
And Shirley's just very calm and practical about the whole situation. After telling off all those rich people, she did tell them off. I love that Lenny runs in to physically support her and help her up, and take care of her and check on her, while Shirley's gonna kick the butts of everybody else in the room. They become a three-pronged team in that moment, and it's like really good. And they both come out to defend her, and I really thought that was nice. I really love that.
And that's, and that comes back also to what we've discussed so much before, is that so much of the core theme of the show is about class and about how at the end of the day, class means nothing. We're just people. Yeah. And these labels of, it's like a humiliating thing is a humiliating thing, whether you're a duke, a duchess, a peasant, the poop smith, it is what it is. Yeah. And, and so here, getting to see Shirley stand up for herself in front of them, and especially because these are people. There's that moment, where the older woman says, God, what was it? If we were back in the old country, I would have you shot. I
have your head.
Have your head. That's it. Thank you.
You look pretty stupid with my head.
That's right. Oh, I forgot to mark that one down. I love that line. But the point, is that they're in a new world. They're not in the old country, and that this is that I think one of the goals that Gary Marshall had with his shows was to showcase and bring forth the ideal that America levels the playing field, that all people can be equal and all people can rise. That's at least the idealism of the show, and this is another example of them trying to shoot for that.
Yeah. Ultimately, it is about how the character of a person is what matters.
Right.
That was his message here. Character is what matters. I just love how they managed to put this little island of a fairy tale right in the middle of this season, right towards the end. The next episode is also a fantasy episode, but it's really broad and burlesque compared to this one. And this one is just a very, almost quiet morality play where everyone's on their best behavior, and it's very nice. And it's very sweet. It's a very sweet episode. It's probably one of the sweetest episodes in the show's canon, I think.
Yeah, it's incredibly fluffy, which is nice. Yeah, and I often comment if my mom liked the episode or not, and this one, she really liked this one. I
wish she would love this one.
Yep.
So what'd she say about it?
No major comments. She did get a big laugh after the over the tumble, the fall, the roll, the fall. She got a big laugh, and so like, oh no, and so much sympathy. But she really liked Shirley giving the pep talk, and and the bird. She liked the bird. But yeah,
I love the whole secondary storyline about the bird. It's funny. When they discovered that in this magician's tuxedo, Squiggy's Uncle Elliot is actually keeping a live bird somehow, and he has to carry it with him all the way through the ball, with him, and get his fingertip nipped, and try to squash it and keep track of it. Manage to finally find it. He loses track of it and finds it again. It's funny. It's a funny little addition. A little tiny subplot.
And it's a cute little thing that, I guess if this was a movie, I would say, he gains the bird at the early on, and then at the end, it's like he gives back the costume, but he keeps the bird. You know?
Yeah. I can actually picture that. That would be adorable.
Yeah.
Hey, if Squiggy can keep his moths, he should have a nice little bird.
Yeah.
Sort of dove,
There you go. I mean, it might eat a couple of the moths, but
yeah.
Sometimes
you gotta make sacrifices. What can you say?
Yeah. Although I could also see the bird probably trying to take a nip or tuck at the poor little Jeffrey on the wall.
Oh yeah, poor Jeffrey. Jeffrey can't feel it. He can't feel it, so it won't matter.
Well, he'll feel it in his soul.
In his tiny lizardy soul. No.
Tiny little soul. How dare you? He's got feelings. He's a perfectly feeling. He's
a good boy.
He's a good boy. He's a precious, precious little lizard boy. Anyway.
I was going to make mention of the fact when we get that exterior shot of the pizza bowl, apparently they offer 24-hour bowling now.
Yeah, and I did notice that.
And Frank lives over the pizza bowl. I'm just trying to imagine how he works that out.
I mean, yeah, like, do you like call in? It's like I just got into town. It's 2 a.m. I want to do a couple of rolls of bowl, and he comes in. I mean, I can just imagine him being so angry that like, it says 24 hours, but it's not really.
Yeah.
So like, it comes down to the pizza bowl, and it's like, here's your shoes. Get your shoes. Get your ball. Do your lines.
Roll your ball and get out. Roll your ball and get out. I can't imagine him like tolerating that. Like he would want some privacy. A, B, he locks up, and we established that he locks up and closes down at nights.
Mm-hmm.
And because the girls spend time there after hours, etc. And D, C, can you imagine the noise? This is the level of noise would be incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 24-hour bowling, the plonk and the sound of there'll be racks returning the pins where they belong.
Oh, yikes! Yeah. Man.
I was gonna say, Uncle Elliot. We know he has more contemporary dresses in his collection. I know that for humor's sake, that's how she ends up with Lizzie Borden's dress. We know he has more modern outfits, so he could have loaned her something like the stuff that they loaned her for the society party.
Right.
Only it turned out to be stolen.
Right.
But he could have loaned her something more contemporary instead. Yeah, obviously that's there for the sight gag. That's obviously there for the joke and the fish out of water feelings. But yeah, canonically, Uncle Elliot should have known better.
Right. Well, my feeling about that is if she chose what outfit it was kind of like the Kaylee Fry in Shindig episode of Firefly, where she picks a poofy dress that looks pretty and she likes it, and it's blue. She looks great in blue. She looks absolutely adorably precious in the dress, and so I don't know. I wonder if that was the case, but
yeah, she might have picked it herself. That's a good point. That's actually a really good point. They never specify. At all.
And for all we know, it could have been Squiggy that picked him.
Yeah, true. Never let Andrew Squigman pick your clothing out.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if he picked mine out, he'd probably like look at my size and my build and say like, "Oh yeah, you're kind of a big guy. You're dark skinned. Here's a grass skirt." It's like, "Oh god, damn it, Squiggy."
Oh god. Well, you can pretend you're Maui from Moana.
I've actually used that "you're welcome" gif, and there are people that have responded with like, "Yeah, Chris, I can actually picture you doing and saying that." Looking exactly like that.
Oh god.
You've seen my long hair. You've seen the hair when it's long.
I have.
Yeah.
Yes, I have. Yes.
Anyway, but I did have one last little thing for me, at least, to wrap up my thoughts, at least my points out. I also really admire the Duke character because I love the delivery of the line that he says to Laverne when he invites her to dance. And he says, "Only a woman of class would come back out here again." And he says it with such respectful dignity. And I really, what I liked about that is that in true fairy tale moment, she's accepted into that world. And And because he's basically the host of the party. He's the guy who gets to say what goes. He's the Fonz of the debutantes.
Yes.
And
Indeed he is.
which would have been awesome if, I mean, by this time Fonz hadn't been in the show for quite a while, but it would have been awesome if like he had snapped his fingers, But I love that touch and I love that moment, and it's great. I think it's seeing Shirley dream for her, in that moment, and seeing Shirley's dream for Laverne getting in some respects to come true. It's really wonderful. It's a very poignant it's a very feelsy, poignant episode, and it always kind of gets me a little bit whenever I watch it. It's really good.
Yeah. As I repeatedly said, it is a perfect episode. My last note for this episode was, they're so proud. I'm so proud.
Aww.
I feel. They're so proud. I'm so proud. And that's how you end up feeling for Laverne. Most people will by the end of this episode.
Yeah.
I guess it's time to rank this baby.
Yeah. So I ranked the last couple of them, I think, first. How about you? What did you think?
It's 10. I'm just going to give it a 10. It's perfect.
Yeah.
It's perfect. Perfect writing. Perfect writing, perfect direction. Really beautifully done. The acting is fabulous. On a perfectly shallow note, Michael McKean in a beautiful tux. Just to be shallow for 5 seconds. And absolutely everything about it works. Yes, it's filled with shit bait. If you are into Laverne and Lenny at all, you will love this episode. I'll just say that flat out.
Mm-hmm.
From the cute little cheek kiss, the way he asks her out, to their little toast, when they get their champagne, to the whole skirt over the head thing, to the way he comes, looks after her after she falls over. You will love every little second of that. But I love it for non-shippy reasons, too. I absolutely love the Frank and Shirley and Squiggy scene. It's hilarious. Everything about it is hilarious. The way they managed to make this fairy tale spring to life is beautiful. So this is a 10.
Yeah.
Where are you going with it?
I think I also, I'm trying to find any sort of fault to take even half a point off, and I can't find anything. I think this is a 10 for me too. It's one of my favorite episodes of the show. Again, like if I was to reboot this work as like a feature film or as a mini series, this would be one of the stories that I would have to put in there. I would insist as a producer or director, say, nope, this portion has to exist because it's hilarious. It brings together so many of the themes and ideals of the show. There's a warmth to it. There's a hilarity to it. It's able to make the characters the butt of the joke, but in such a way that you still sympathize, you laugh, but you still feel sorry for them. And yet they handle it gracefully. It is a wonderful, wonderful episode. And yeah, I loved it. I loved it a lot.
Yeah. This is, I think, our second double perfect 10.
I think so.
Woo.
Yeah.
Well earned. Well earned.
Anyway, cool. And I guess if that's everything, thank you again so much, everyone, for joining us for Night After Night. If you would like to know more, please join us at Night After Night Pod on Facebook, Tumblr, and YouTube and WordPress. Or if you want to get in touch with us a little more directly, we have a Twitter at Night After Night PC. You also can find Night After Night Podcast, I think, on a lot of these different places. But keep an eye out for us. And we try to do like our mega threads, and we try to do more social stuff. And we're recording these months and months ahead of time, so we'll see what all is going down when this episode goes on up. But in any case, we thank you so much for watching. And anyway, I think possibly I can hear the sound strange in space. Lisa, what's the next episode beyond?
Frank's big mouth causes Laverne to have a nightmare in which she is very old, very virginal, and eyeballing Lenny for marriage. This is 2001, A Comic Odyssey.
Cool. Well, I guess we'll just have to go forward and see that in the future. Wait a minute. It's 2020. It's 2000. 2001 was like 19 years ago.
Yeah. Welcome to the episode of tomorrow.
Oh boy. Okay. Well, at least we have an idea of how to open that one. All right. We'll see you guys, folks.
That's for the Duke that brung you, folks. Bye bye.
Bye.